All right, so here we go. I have a fighter barbarian build here called Maya Drake the Mortal, the Immortal Magician. I can't read. Reading is hard. Oh, this is a long description. All right, so this is a build submitted by Richard, and I want to review it and get some thoughts going here. So welcome, Shrimp. Thanks again for the review. Also, thanks for all your marvelous content on YouTube and here on Twitch. Feel free to subscribe to Strimtom on Twitch, and also go to YouTube and subscribe there as well. Thank you for throwing that in there. That's really kind of you to do that. I'm grateful. A Strength, Wisdom, Tactician, and Assassin max Falconry build. I have input all the past lives for like an epic that I have. I don't mind doing a couple TRs if we can improve the build. Would love to know what epic past life would be the best to go for. Arcane, Divine, and Primal. Sure. Priority made this build in no order was Tactical DCs is first, then High Balance and Jump. Sure. Then Strike Through. Okay. Then Self Heal. Okay. Great Sword with high crit range and multiplier. Well, that's going to be rough with all this other stuff. And Intimidate and use Magic Device. Intimidate is okay. Getting the gear is a rough one. You can get close to like 90 without too much trouble, but getting above that is a big ask. And you need like 130 to do a lot of stuff. My gear is what I currently wear at level 30. I have no notion about filigrees. Sounds good. This doesn't have gear involved in it, so there's no gear in this review. So we're just gonna do everything else. And levels cap, I will get in the Fury. When level cap is 32, I will get in the Fury Tree. Wild, I'm 1 point angry and blah blah blah, and uncontrollable range. Assuming that there's nothing else that you are excited about that you'll see. I don't want to think about the possibility of what you get at 32 because we don't know what's changing. There's probably going to be some new stuff in the Epic Destiny trees when we get there, and you'll want to take a look at that when we get there. Sure. Okay, so we got strength, we got wisdom. I don't know what this character uses to hit and damage, but it's a max wisdom build, so let's see what's going on here. I'm not sure what. I guess the strength is just for the DCs and stuff, and it's a wisdom hit and damage, so we'll just take a quick gander-ander. So level ups. Barbarian into Fighter. I'm not sure what the purpose of Barbarian and Fighter is, but we'll take a look. Because I guess Barbarian is for the rages, and we have 4 Barbarian for something, so let's take a quick peek here. We got Frenzy Berserker a little bit. We only have tier 1 Frenzy Berserker. I don't know why you would have 4 levels of Barbarian at all, especially considering you could get more Fighter and get something else. Like you get an extra feat if you just take more Fighter, and that could give you more Tactics DCs along the way. Also, this Kensai tree doesn't pick up any damage whatsoever, so this character is very, very low DPS. You've got no damage at a Kensai, no hit chance, no damage at a Vazimar, no damage at a Frenzy Berserker, just some strength. So this character is definitely going to be low on damage, but that's not a death sentence. This also doesn't use Wisdom to hit and damage, even though Wisdom is the main stat. No, Strength is the main stat. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to take a look at the gear then, just a little bit, just to get a sense. Another thing that's important is you don't actually need to put 3 points in Strike for the Eyes or Diving Strike. You only really need 1 point in these. Then that means you can take extra hit chance, which is really important for this build, because if you grazing hit, you don't get any of your crowd control, so you want to make sure you have hit chance. And this character's hit chance is 96, so which means that about a third of the time you're missing at level cap, which is a problem. So that needs to be adjusted here as well. So you want to make some adjustments there. So let's take a look at the feats and what we got. Feats. So you've got Tactical Supremacy, Tactical Mastery, Tactical Baton, and Tactical Training. Sure. You've also got the Heavy Armor feats and Combat Expertise, which I guess is for improved trip, which is fine. Especially if you want to use every tactic in the game. DR level 2, don't mind an extra rage level 4, but I don't mind changing that. Yeah, I feel like you probably don't need the extra rages, especially since you have like a 70 con, so your rages should last long enough. So I wouldn't really get stressed about that. The extra fighter feat could be useful. I just don't know what extra fighter feat you would take. Let me take a look at the fighter feats, because it would be 1 extra. So you'd be able to take improved trip in heroics. You'd be able to take weapon focus, so you can actually hit some stuff, which is kind of important. You can take precision, so you can actually hit some stuff. Your character is very bad at hitting stuff right now. And you probably don't want to use combat expertise, because if you're raging, you can't. Actually, if you're raging, you can't use combat expertise or precision, so it doesn't really matter, and you have power attack already, which is reducing your hit chance. So you've got all the two-handed fighting bonuses. You have Stunning Blow, Improved Sunder, and Improved Trip, and I assume your character takes the Tier 5 of Dreadnought for all of that stuff, which is fine. And then you've got Fury of the Wild here. You've got Tactician, and you took the extra hit chance from Tactician. No, you really want to have that too, because you need the hit chance here. Epic. Deific Warding is fine. Student of the Sword. I don't love Student of the Sword, because this does give you +2 to your Intimidate skill, but there's so many better feats that would go into this slot. So you need hit chance as much as possible. And this technically gives you +1 maximum dexterity bonus of your armor, but mobility does that too. And dodge mobility are better in terms of feats. Oh, this is too. So I really don't like this feat. But also another weird thing about this character is, especially if for the leveling purposes, you have Stunning Blow early, which is pretty much the most important one, but Improved Trip comes in pretty late, so I'll have to take a look at some of the stuff to make it work. But as far as what you would get for more fighter, you don't really get anything crazy. It would just be like taking Improved Trip earlier or grabbing +1 to hit, so you might not need to change that per se. And the extra damage reduction from Barbarian could be useful. I'm just taking a holistic look at the whole character, so if you're wondering why I'm not just like making adjustments right away, that's why. And then you've got the Azamar, you've got the healing, which is fine. Your character does have a lot of wisdom, so you can get that going. You've got Kensai here, and you pick up the extra tactics and the extra action boosts. You don't need the action boosts in epics, so you could easily swap this out and pick up some more hit chance, which is really important and probably what I would do, because these extra action boosts are great for leveling, but once you hit the level cap, you have infinity action boosts, because this ability, Dusk Surge, which you didn't take, procs constantly and is insanely good. It is so valuable, you have to take it. Also, this effect is only good while you're wearing medium or light armor, and your character has heavy armor mastery, so I assume that you're wearing heavy armor. And you are wearing heavy armor, so you shouldn't take that ability. So what I would probably do is take this character and put it down to medium. This has a Topaz of Death block, so I would put it down to medium right away, which is the Sun scale instead, which is the same thing. And drop all the heavy armor mastery stuff and go with dodge instead, because it gives you more defenses that way. Topaz of Death block, like something like that. And so instead you would run you'd swap out all these heavy armor training feats, and you would go with weapon focus slashing, because you said greatsword. Heavy armor combatant, you would change this to weapon specialization slashing. Heavy armor master, you change this to greater weapon focus slashing. And heavy armor champion, you change this to superior weapon focus slashing, which you have to take greater weapon specialization, like that. So you actually have some more hit chance here, which is really important for this character. And it means you can then build up more hit chance. We're going to build up more hit chance here. So we're going to replace this Kensai tree, because you still want to keep the heavy blades. You still want to keep the action boost haste, because it's the best action boost in the entire game. But now, instead of focusing on the action boost here, you can be picking up extra hit chance and extra hit chance, which is, again, really important. You still want to put the 1 point in Shattering Strike. You want to take this stuff, and then you had 1 point in here. You could also take an extra point in Confirm Critical for your damage, but since I did just dump down some other stuff, I would probably put the extra damage point in here, so that's probably fine. You could go higher if you wanted, but it's just for damage from one cut and opportunity attack, so you're missing out on quite a bit there. As far as Falconry goes, again, diving attack strike, I would cut some of these points out. Also, Tear the Flesh is exclusively bad. This is a terrible ability, and I don't ever recommend anyone takes it ever. No Mercy, you stun, you make monsters helpless constantly, so this is better for you than almost every other character in the game. You really want to have this one. It's very good. And Death from Above doesn't reduce the cooldown. It just adds extra damage on the hit. And if this is not working and it does damage as opposed to killing, then you don't want to use this at all. So you should only be putting 1 point in Death from Above. So which saves you a whole bunch of points, which means you can take more defensives and more hit chance. So which is really good. So let's redo that right now. So I don't remember what bird you had because I wasn't paying attention, but we're going to grab this, and this, and this, so you have even more defensives. Diving attack strike, grab the wisdom that's in here. You can go for the eyes strike. Did you have wisdom or strength? You had wisdom. I'm going to do that, and get the conditioning because it's really important. Grab that. Oh, White Falcon? Well, it's got a raven now. Ah, it's okay. The raven's still good. Grab Watch the Center. 3 points and No Mercy is amazing. Exposed Weakness is extremely useful. You want Coordinated Strikes because it's extremely useful. You want Deadly Instinct, 3 points because it's extremely useful. We want Dangerous. You want 1 point in Death from Above, again, because more than 1 point doesn't matter. Thrill of the Hunt is borderline useless in Reaper mode, but because if the strike through added extra hits, that'd be nice. So now, what we've changed out is your character has gained the extra helplessness damage because you make monsters helpless constantly. You've gained extra hit chance and more physical resistance rating, so you're a little bit tankier, and you shaved off 1 point here. And then out of Frenzy Berserker, you grab extra strength while raging for some points. This is a pretty cheap and effective way to gain strength, so it's not that bad. And then you have the extra rages as well, since your character does not have a whole lot of them. But I'm wondering if there's something better you could do. I mean, something like just, you know, healing imp's okay. Some of this damage is not that great. There's no abilities out here, unfortunately, that you could take. Your character's not using a stalwart defensive stance, so you're probably just going to be in epic defensive fighting, which I think you already are. Ravager doesn't do anything here. It just gives you Constitution, which is good defensively, but not going to hit the goals of what you want. And Occult Slayer is not going to do that as well. Is this a Wisdom or a Strength build? It's a Wisdom Strength build. So you've got Wisdom and Strength on this build, as is shown here. And then Epic Destinies. Again, you need more hit chance. The medium armor gives you more trip, and you need as many trip DCs as possible. You gain Barbarian Rage and extra uses of Rage. Depends on how many uses of Rage you have. With your current total, you should have like 12, and that's way too many. So you probably don't need I'm Always Angry at all. Extra Strength while Raging is pretty good. Strike Through Chance is not bad. You're using the Mantle of Fury, and I don't think the Mantle of Fury is very good here. The main reason is because... Oh, you also wanted to be able to heal other people, and you don't have the ability to heal other people in any capacity with this character, which is always going to be interesting. You also grabbed Action Boost Tactics and Strike Action Boost Tactics, and you can't use Action Boost Tactics while also using Action Boost Haste. So the Action Boost Tactical DCs is not bad, but you take so much Tactical DCs other places, I don't see this as having the same level of value as you might otherwise want. The benefit of avoiding the Dread Mantle is that technically you don't have to spend points in this tree, so you can spend them another place. So you can take like Lay Waste, you can take Carry On. Carry On also doesn't stack with Haste Boost, so yeah. I thought I could... You can heal with Healing Hands, yeah. You can 100% do that, but yeah, healing out of the actual tree. You can't cast any of the healing spells while raging either. You can't cast Renewal while raging. You can't cast Primal Rejuvenation Cocoon while raging, so that's tough. The build concept is to have all of the tactics DCs built into a character. And then the life and death, this enhancement is just garbage. So let's make a couple adjustments here. If your character wants to stay alive, are you going to keep this mantle? Probably. I would probably drop this entirely. So let's rejig this one here. So I would, if you wanted to keep this and keep Primal Scream, you could. I think that getting extra 3 strength while raging, since you are raging, is not bad because your character is already going to be raging a whole lot. And then as far as the strike through goes, I mean, obviously you can still take that because your character doesn't pick up any extra strike through in other places. It's not bad. It's probably not my first choice. If I was taking something, I would probably kind of stop here or go into Sense Weakness for the Fortification Bypass and Helpless damage. But yeah, this is not the worst place to be right now, but you just saved 2 points right there. And those 2 points will come in handy in just a second. Out of the Dreadnought tree, you really want to take Dusk Surge, because then you don't need any action boost stuff anywhere else. Did you do the Travical Weather? No, I can do Trav after this. So we're going to grab Dire Charge, because you want Dire Charge for sure. The Tactics DCs, obviously, that fits onto everything. And the extra ability scores during an action boost, that does sound pretty good, but we're going to focus on some of the stuff. You need hit chance, and your character did take the Tactician feat, so this is +6 to hit. That's really, really impactful. Obviously, you want to take this. Let's grab the extra action boost bonus. Armor of Dusk is a huge amount of max dex, assuming you have some dodge, which you currently don't, so that is a big deal. So we'll put another point in here. You want to take Lay Waste for sure. You want Untouchable. You don't necessarily need Carry On, especially if you just focus on the 1 action boost, which is my recommendation here, is just focus on the 1 action boost. At which point, now you can grab the bonus to all ability scores. You got some extra flexibility there. You can take Power and Precision for extra critical hit. While Power Attack is active, you get extra critical hit damage. This will impact your damage quite a bit, which is nice, and gets you closer to that kind of damage threshold that you want. And you don't need this other stuff is situational. So I'd probably take this and then grab the extra 20 hit points because it's not that bad. And then kind of go here, grab the extra slashing damage, grab this. Because remember that this carry-on does not stack if you already are using haste boost, which your character should be using. And then lastly, you have one more point to shave off if you wanted to spend it somewhere else. I was going to say other options you could definitely consider instead of just this. Because the trip is really important, and especially with the medium armor that you're wearing, it's like really impactful. You really want to be wearing... you really want to get the extra +6 to your trip DCs. The problem is you don't have Sunder DCs, and you don't have Stunning DCs. Grandmaster Flowers, of course, picks up Stunning right here, and Divine Crusader picks up Sundering right here, both of which are quite good, especially if your character has the Epic Sundering from this one, so Sundering Swing, so it's minus 75% fortification, which means you don't need fortification bypass. So there's those are definitely options there. Divine Crusader is also possibly cool as like an alternative, because instead of using this raging stuff, you can pick up Consecrate and get the Cower Before Me, but that also requires like a few more points. So I don't entirely think I would swap over there. I think that for the most part, it's probably not worth it to go with that. And as I said, you won't have the ability to heal others outside of just your healing hands, which is a nice pop-up with your high wisdom. I mean, you've got 83 wisdom right now, so that's, yeah, that's pretty sweet. But that's all you're going to be able to grab there. In terms of just the general tactics DCs, you're just kind of short on points. Obviously, if you had more past lives, like epic past lives, your character would be able to pick up extra stunning DCs, which is impactful, because that works on dire charge as well. Or just generally more tactics DCs, like these things would be good, especially considering, or outside of that, not just that, but there's also the even more impactful, and I think it's probably worth it, in my opinion, Shadow Dancer. It would be worth it to drop the strike through here, and then grab the extra 6 assassinate DCs, just because the falconry attacks are really good, and you really want to get them to land, and I think that's going to be more impactful. And if you wanted to keep the strike through, I would probably drop Furious Force and take the strike through instead, just because this is +6. It's a huge amount to your assassinate DCs, and that's your instant kill. And the instant kill that resets when you use your other falconry abilities, because you're going to be using falconry all the time. Now, an important note about this build as well is that you're using a greatsword. This build screams falchion to me, because you have critical multi and no threat range. So you probably want to be using a falchion instead of a greatsword also. If greatsword is really what you want to use, like Reflection of Black Razor here, you can go ahead and do that. That's fine, especially if you already have one. But outside of that, you know, a falchion is going to get you, going to do more damage for the character that you built. Tail of Sulmates is amazing. Tail of the Scorpion is amazing. Round of Flame is not what you want to use. Zoom is fine. So any of these are going to get the job done. The number one is Tail of Sulmates. If you can go get this, it's going to get the job done. It's got the Keen. It's got the Vorpal on it. It's aligned. So then all you need to do is toss a Deconstructor in there, and you have all the damage types in the game covered. And it's going to do more damage than your Greatsword, because it has a better critical threat range to multi ratio. So I'd probably change that. So I'll just throw a Deconstructor in here. Is that orange? Oh no, is the Deconstructor orange? You can't even use a Deconstructor? Oh no. Well, it's okay. You can use a Ruby of Adamantine Arms. Ruby of Adamantine DR Bypass. There you go. You can throw that one in there. And then the rest of the stuff, I'm just going to take a quick ganderino at the gear. It's a 7 summer, 4 winter, which is very interesting. Do you have this change stone? Because if you don't have this change stone, that'll be hard to get. I mean, the gear looks fine for the most part. I don't see anything glaring or standing out, especially since you want all of these stats. This sucks. Insightful Insight sucks. So that's going to be painful. Wisdom, Deadly, and Assassinate. Ooh, the Goggles Craft. Pendant of Warrior's Focus. I haven't thought about this item in 1,000 years. So you actually don't want this item, and the reason you don't want this item is because it looks really good. Because it has the Insightful Double Strike, and I guess it has Armor Piercing on it, but I swear there has to be a better way to get those stats. Insightful Armor Piercing? Oh, man. Because you can't use... The problem is the Insightful Combat Mastery doesn't work because it doesn't stack with the Insightful Combat Mastery that you already get from the Falconry, from your trance. From Killer Instinct. Instead of Insightful Deadly. You don't need the Insightful Deadly. And you do need the Insightful Accuracy. This is actually better with Insightful Accuracy on it, for the record. It's actually better that way. So that makes this a better item. Because that you didn't have Insightful Accuracy anywhere else, and that actually applies to your build. Because you already have Insightful Deadly that comes from the Trance. So if I turn the Trance on, yeah, you already have Deadly Instinct. This gives you half your Wisdom modifier. So your Wisdom is 83, minus 10 is 73, half of that is 31, half of that is 15. So you're already at 15 Insightful Deadly, so you don't need Insightful Deadly. You'd prefer Insightful Wisdom, or Insightful Accuracy, sorry. And you're Raging. So yeah, that's good. And then as far as your... I'm just going to look at the Reaper points, because I can. Ho ho! You got 9? Yeah, Grim Barricade's where you want to go. Just don't die. This is good. 21 points in here, so you have the don't die passive of 100 health, and then spend in other places. So through some of these changes, your hit chance is now 127, so you've gained about 30 hit chance. That's still not great, but your character is a sundering machine. So your character, you'll be capable of sundering through monsters and reducing their armor class by a huge amount. Which is not bad, assuming your Sunder actually lands, which is important. Additionally, your character also gains hit chance in combat. This is not included anywhere in the builder, but Kensai Spiritual Bond, every time you vorpal, you get +1 enhancement bonus. So you just have to keep fighting monsters, you get +10 to hit and damage, which is really important. There's an update to the builder that has Sapphires of MRR. There are no Sapphires of MRR in the game. So you don't use Sapphires of MRR, they're called Sapphires of Defense. So this is good luck, but you get a Sapphire of Defense, and it's both PRR and MRR. There is no Sapphire of Magic Resistance rating. There might be old items that do that, but you can't get any new ones. It's just both. Just regular sheltering. And then as far as the filigrees go, you went with Blood Feast, Frozen Wanderer. Oh, because you've got the double Blood Feast, and there's one Dreadbringer for tactical DCs. Touch of Grace and Purity, and Long Shadow. Okay, because you've got, I guess this is Assassinate DCs, melee power, hit, and PRR. Okay. Yeah, Sapphire Defense on boots. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not too worried about the gear on here. I would probably change up a whole bunch of this. Blood Feast, Frozen Wanderer is not bad for defense. Oh yeah, also, I don't know if you have a Sapphire of Dodge in here. So like physical defense breakdowns, you've got 1,000,000 hit points. Defensively, you've got 200 PRR, 100 MRR, more than enough for a melee character. You got loads of fortification. Your dodge is 19. There's no real way to get more dodge unless you get the Reaper evasion, which is probably what I would recommend putting my points into. So I would say, as opposed to this PRR nonsense over here, I would do like straight up this, like that, and get the extra dodge chance. Dodge is capped. How much dodge is capped? There it is. So something like this. Just to make sure you're at the dodge cap. Because you want to be, if your dodge cap is 21, that's where you want to be. So keep that in mind. Let's move that down so I can see more stuff. You got the healing amp. Offensively, your strike through is 185. Because I took the points out of the strike through. Because I don't see it as being as impactful. So, you know, I took the points out of there because I wanted to get the Assassinate DCs. And then the actual DCs on your abilities... DCs. Your Falconries are 113, which is pretty good. Your Dire Charge is not 190. That is very wrong. And your Improved Trip is not 180. That is also very wrong. I don't know where these numbers come from. Or 140. Tactical DC? Yeah, something is broken in here. What's broken? I don't know. But something is broken in here. But at the end of the day, these are going to be very high. And then your Assassinate 37, obviously not as good, but this scales with your Wisdom modifier character level as well, which helps you get closer. And you're going to be able to use Death from Above on basically whatever you want. The hardest part about this character build is hitting all the buttons. You have a lot of keybinds, so just keep that in mind. If I was to redo the filigrees, though, what would I do here? You don't need fortification bypass. I accidentally took that off. I mean, like, I think that the Blood Feast is okay. I don't love it. I don't love the Blood Feast, but you've got the two of them. I think that the Purity of Grace double healing amp is interesting because it gives you a lot of healing amplification. So you've got 200, so you get healed really easily, but it's like defensive and not offensive. But it doesn't really stop you from scaling your tactics either. Is there really no Long Shadow Assassinate? No, there isn't. Where's that new one? Treachery? No. What's the new rogue one, the new Shadow Dancer one? What is that called? I have no idea. There are no pictures. Video Filigree. It's not the Long Shadow, it's on something else. Strolling, Divinity Bend Fate, Angelic Winds Abiding Path. Keep the Curse, Lunar Magic Serpent, Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike. Assassinate Deadly Rain? Yeah, Deadly Rain's range though, so I want to do that. Shadow Strike. There it is. So if you get two of these, so you can get like two either double strikes, PRR, or deceptions. Your character would have. Actually, you can just go straight up melee. Can you get melee power? No, there's no melee power. So you'd give up melee power, but you can assassinate DCs. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Yeah. I would probably drop this +1 to hit and damage here and replace this with a treachery. You probably don't need a treachery here, but because your damage is going to be, it's not going to be that great, but just in case, because you do have increased threat, I would probably drop a treachery in there just because 150%, it goes up quite a bit. And if you pull aggro on a monster that you're not trying to, people die. So there's a problem. Yeah, so you're just at 2%. It's because the Nocturne Ring hurts you in that capacity. It'd probably be fine. Because your character doesn't do that much damage, so it's not that big of a deal. So there's that. Can this self-heal at all? Yeah, this can self-heal. Because you've got a high wisdom. So it's got wisdom 83 here. Yeah, and your character is capable of self-healing with the Azamar Healing Hands. So that's not too bad. And then what was the last thing? You said you wanted something else. 6, having good intimidate and use magic device. I mean, that's entirely dependent on like just the gear here. You don't have any intimidate items, so if you wanted to intimidate something, you're mostly just talking about an intimidate augment, and that's basically it. And I don't know if you have an intimidate augment in here. Insightful dexterity, augment of good luck, melee power. You have a diamond of intimidate, so that's pretty much all you're going to get. And sapphire resistance. Also, since you already have that, you don't need the Crown of Summer here. It does give you extra positive healing amplification, and it does make your weapon good. But you could also replace this with the Crown of Fireflies if you wanted, which would give you healing stats and insightful magical sheltering. And I don't think you have insightful magical sheltering.
Characters? I tried to build
but it's also not necessary either.
I'm not very good at it. That's why I have
no, you don't have insightful magical sheltering. So you could get insightful magical sheltering if you wanted and use that here. You would give up 15 healing amp for some insightful magical sheltering, and technically you would get healing stats as well.
Product, those cases. Where was I again?
Because you already have the augment, so you could do that. And you would get +4 to your saves as well. So you would do that. So I'll probably just throw this in here. Sapphire of False Life, 48. You augment out that. Here we go. So like I said, you lost the healing amp, but you kept the melee power because it goes into the augment, which doesn't stack. And now you have bonus even higher on your saves. Just a little bit. Just keep you have the dexterity and stuff for the reflex, and you have the trap sense on this character as well. And then the insightful magical sheltering. Phone cases forgot. Yep. If the character isn't already on them. Yeah, but this character is already full of augments.
My favorite part of my day is when I talk over Stroitum while he is thinking out loud.
That's why I had the headset off. That's the secret move right there. And you could also replace this with, if you wanted, a diamond of charisma. 13, like so. Brings your charisma up to 56. Now you've got even more intimidate. And then that brings your intimidate up to 97, which is good enough for basically non-raid bosses. So that's good enough for non-raid bosses. And yeah, you're pretty much in the clear. I don't know any other changes I would make to this build. I think it kind of fits everywhere you want. Oh, you want to know what past lives you should take? Past lives. Where are they? Okay, so for Arcane, enchant weapons, +3 to hit and damage, obvious. For Divine, all of them are good, but you want Brace for +3 to saving throws. And yes, you have been bamboozled, so Brace +3 to all saves. It's useful on every character in the entire game. It's useful while leveling. You want Brace. Very good. Enchant weapons. On every weapon character, very good. You want that. Martial, you have tactics. Plus, on this build, you want 3 tactics. On most melees, you want double strike. And you want ancient power. Watch this. 126 to hit, 164 to damage. 1, 2, 3. So let's just put it on here. Boom. Look at that. +6 to hit and damage, just from these 3 past lives. Holy guacamole. This is actually bugged. It's tripled. It's actually +18 to hit in game. But don't tell anybody. It gives you 6 per stack if you're 2-handed fighting. So if I go here and I put that in there, I put in my Brace past life, I put in the enchant weapons past life, and I max out the tactics, and you do this, and you go, and you've got that. So you have all your past lives in here. You're 135 to hit, which is probably closer to like 145. What is the target for hit bonus? If you want to hit everything so hitting everything without any armor class reduction effects, like 190-ish. But with destruction effects and other things, you want around 140. And if you had these 3 past lives, you'd be over 140. Yeah. And then these numbers, again, there's something wrong here. Something is wrong with these numbers. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. I just don't know what it is. I can't decipher why these numbers are like this. Like, something is probably stacking when it's not supposed to. But I mean, hey, it's all good.
THX for the build review and much love, buddy.
Yeah, it's a cool build. It's a neat idea. I will say something like this. So here's the pros and cons of this build if you've been watching through. So pro about this build, you literally crowd control everybody. If you're in the party, every monster is knocked down. Every monster is stunned. Every monster is unable to move. You've got Dire Charge, Improved Trip, which is going to last for like 3 hours. You got the Sunder, so monsters lose 75% fortification, so you don't have to worry about that. Your Falconry attacks reduce monsters' fortification. So you can literally strip a monster down by almost 150% fortification on this character alone without any item effects, just from your base character, right? The downside of this character is it just doesn't do as much damage as other characters. So as long as you're okay with that, and you're not stressed about not having as much damage, then you're in the clear. You're super defensive, you're super tanky. This character is a monster in R10s. As an addition, it's just once you get to that red name, you're just not killing it as fast as other people.
Sounds hot.
It does sound hot. So if you like this, make sure you play this one. I'm going to post it in the build review channel, and I'm going to send this back to you, Richard. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I should just call you Richard. It's just easier that way. Should I move down to summer only to 4-piece and go for other gear? No, because by moving the summer down, you have to rearrange a lot of gear. The one item you have to give up is the Prince's Gauntlet, and you don't want to give up the Prince's Gauntlet because it's 2 of your set bonuses, and its Constitution, and its Quality Resistance, and its 58 Healing Amp, and its Quality Sheltering. So I wouldn't want to give that up. So you're probably just sticking with what you got, because you're already invested. And especially if you're holding on to this, I wouldn't change it for the new expansion when we know gear is on the way. Also, thank you for this gifted sub, Kalari. Oh, we have a hype train. I didn't even notice. Oh, thanks for the support, everybody. Now, I'm going to send this back to you so you can have it. I moved my light over here, so now when I look at Discord, it shines into my eyes and I can't see anything. So I hope that was good. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful for you. I didn't want to spend too much time on the gear, but yeah. It's a cool build. Got a lot of different stats. This is the type of character I've definitely wanted to make. Yeah, I've definitely wanted to make a type of character like this in the past. The only maybe minor change I would maybe make, maybe, if you wanted a little bit more stats, would be to drop Deadly Instinct here, drop Power Rage so you lose some strength, and probably like Frenzied Toughness, drop 2 levels of Barbarian, or just 1 level of Barbarian, take a level of Favored Soul, and get the Favored Soul Trance instead, which gives you even more hit chance. But I think that build would be better for a different item build, because right now your item build is good enough and you have all the hit points, versus the Favored Soul Trance, which gives you extra hit chance, which would be the only difference. But again, assuming you do have this Changestone, Dex, Accuracy, Seeker, Insightful Accuracy, you're fine. Because this is a very, very good Changestone. And it fits the build really, really well. Cool. All right, back to DDO.